Hello everyone. Today I am finally doing my Q&A video that I asked you all to please ask me questions for 2 years and 2 months ago. I apologize. I have no excuse except I am a procrastinator. I think I just didn't want to face some of the questions that you asked. I think I was worried I would disappoint you. Some of the questions were a little bit harder than I realized. I started working on them last night, so I think the whole thing just made me uncomfortable. I thought I would be boring, I'm not that interesting, which is ridiculous. What did I ask you in the first place? So I'm going to do it now, and I'm sure some of you who asked the questions don't even watch my channel anymore. So here goes. The first question. 2 people asked this. Casey343 said, I wish we could see more of your home, even a small glimpse into your closet or bathroom setup or even your vanity. And Lisa-SPF5IF said, would it be possible to see your home? That was the one I was afraid I was going to disappoint you. I have never shown my home simply because I want to maintain my husband and my privacy, and also for security and safety reasons. I just feel like I already put myself out on YouTube enough, and I just don't feel that comfortable doing much more. If someday I can figure out a way to maybe show snippets and still feel like I'm being helpful and that it's something fun for you to see, but I feel safe and still feel like my privacy is maintained, then I would do it, but I just haven't figured out how to do that. Next question. This is from KJ Blakely 6214. Hi Janis. As requested, here is a question I'll toss into the hat. What have been the greatest enjoyments and challenges you've experienced in building and managing your channel since it began? Okay, I'd say the challenges I'll start with first. I'll say the first challenge was being a perfectionist. When I started my YouTube channel and my blog back in 2015, I remember thinking, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the way I want. For example, when I film videos, especially the modeling videos, I don't have a white plain background. And I knew that that's really what would be a better video, to have a clean background. But we live in a small condominium, and we only have certain spaces that give me enough room to set up lights. I have lights here, and then I have a ring light here and a tripod. And then when I do the modeling videos, I move all of this out of the way, and I set up a smaller tripod further away, actually on a table that's right in front of me that I can't move, and I do the modeling. So it's really the only place where I have enough room to do all this. So it's not perfect because it's really busy behind me, but I thought if I don't go ahead and do this, I'll never do it. Just like the putting off doing the Q&A video, because if I can't do it perfectly, I'm not ready to do it yet. It's silly. I have put off doing so many things when I was younger because of that fear of not doing it well enough. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm glad I started my channel. I was afraid oh my gosh, what if I do my makeup badly? What if I look terrible? What if I hate the outfit I filmed and it's out there for all to see? Well, all that has happened and I survived. And I'm so happy I did it, because that brings me to the joys. The joys outrank the challenges of doing YouTube. The joys are, I get to be creative. I get to do things I love doing, which is, one, styling outfits. In fact, I didn't realize how much I loved it until I started doing it more and learning more and studying fashion just by going on YouTube and looking at so many stores and just teaching myself, because I'm not an expert. I'm just like you. I like fashion, and specifically classic fashion, and no one was showing that back in 2015. No one was talking about preppy casual clothing or casual, elegant, ladylike clothing. It just wasn't in. Now it seems to be very popular, but back then when I started it wasn't. So being able to do the creative, and the thing that surprised me most, that has brought me so much joy on the channel, is all of you. Those of you who take the time to leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. Some of you also go on my blog and on Instagram, on Facebook. But particularly here and Instagram, you all leave comments that are so kind. I will say in the beginning, I had more mean comments. I don't know why I have fewer now when my channel is bigger. That I don't know. But maybe they decided I was boring and I didn't respond to the hate the way they maybe thought I would. I don't know. I always try to give even the mean commenters a respectful answer if they've asked it in a question form. You know, often people will pretend they're asking a question, but it will be a mean kind of question. So I try to look at it and think, well, would this be a question that some of my followers who are kind and are supportive might like to know the answer to? And if that's the case, I will answer respectfully. I don't think it does me any good, and definitely not the other person any good, if I respond in a nasty way back or in a passive-aggressive way back. I think I try to be as respectful as possible, kind. I know that when someone leaves a mean comment, it's because they're hurting, and who knows why. Some questions or comments are, I just don't answer it. And if they're really, really, really horrible, I do delete. But I haven't done that in the longest time. I don't know, I feel very lucky. I haven't gotten a lot of mean comments like I did in the beginning. So I want to thank you, all of you who take the time to leave comments, who are subscribers, who've been with me for a long time. And those of you who are new, thank you. I so appreciate your support. I love our little world we have here. I like small and manageable, and that's what I feel like I have here on my little channel, and that's because of you. And I really, really appreciate it. Really do. Okay, here was the other question that I was afraid to answer. This is from Patorelli 3451. This isn't really a question, but I wondered if we could see a tour of your closet and how you organize it. So that's similar to the first question about home tour. I've never done anything on a closet tour, anything like that. Well, one reason here is there's really not anything wonderful or helpful to show you. We are in a small condominium here in Florida, and I love it. I've been here since 1989, before we were married. But it's small, so it has, back in '89, they didn't put in big walk-in closets, at least not in this unit. So we have 2 closets in the master bedroom and 2 in a guest bedroom that I use. In the master, my husband takes half of one and gives me the rest. And then in the guest bedroom, I take those 2 closets, and we kind of use the guest bedroom for storage. So I put all my handbags and shoes in boxes, which you're not supposed to do. So it's not really, everything is tucked in nooks and crannies where I can find space. But I thought, well, I do have some, well, what do you call it? Do's and don'ts for my closet that might be helpful. So I wrote them down to make sure I tell you how to maximize space if you're like me and you live in a small condominium or a small home or apartment. So organizational wise, I use, well, I'll show a picture on screen, the thin hangers that have the velvet cover. So that takes up less space in the closet. And the way I organize all the clothes that hang is by type of item and color. So I hang all shirts together, divided by color. So I'll have whites, blues, pinks, reds, etc. shirts. Then I'll go to jackets or blazers, again divided by color. Then next comes dresses, divided by color. I don't worry about winter or summer or spring because in Florida, very much wear a lot of the same things year round. So I can have a wool blazer in with a linen blazer. I just go by color, not by fabric. Then when it comes to, so I talked about shirts, blazers, and dresses. Next comes pants and skirts. And I use this, I love. I have these, a lot of these. You can get them in 6 or 4. So I hang my pants vertically and my skirts vertically. Any Bermuda shorts or jeans, they also all get hung vertically. And these save space, as you can see, rather than having them this way, they're this way. So I find these very helpful. Also, everything that's a knit gets folded. So sweaters, any tops, shawls, scarves, they all go in clear plastic boxes that are about, I'll put a picture on screen. They're about this big and this deep with a white lid, and they're clear so I can see what's inside. And again, I go by type and by color. So if it's a sweater, all the sweaters are together, and blues together, and then maybe green, so that I can see what I have easily. And those get stacked on the top of my closet, on the bottom of my closet, which brings me to shoes. They are in boxes, and handbags. They're in boxes, so I can stack them. The one thing I've learned is I need to always document where I put what shoe or bag. Because they're in boxes, I can't just see it visually. And some are in the guest bedroom and some are in the master bedroom. So I've learned to put sticky notes on all the bags, boxes, because you can't tell what's inside. And then the main thing is I have to keep remembering to, well, I have a master list that says where all the handbags are in boxes. But the problem is if I move things, decide to organize them differently, or I get a new bag, I don't always remember to put it on the list. So you have to remember to update the list. So I do have to do that. What else do I do? When I bring a new, someone asked in a recent video, she noticed that I bring a lot of old clothing into my videos as well as new, and she wanted to know, how do I do that? How do I organize items like that? So what I do is I keep what I love and I use. So every time I bring something new into my closet, whether it's something I bought or something a brand sent me, I have to remove something. Also, every season, I do go through my closet and give a hard look at everything, and I get rid of things that I'm not wearing or I don't see wearing. I donate or I sell them. I do the same with handbags. If I have not been using them, they get donated or sold. So that helps me keep things culled down. Let me think if there's anything else here. Oh, this is so important. If you don't keep your items in boxes, which actually we shouldn't, I think I did mention that. I was told by several luxury handbag brands over the years, do not store your bags in boxes. Do not store your shoes, leather shoes, in boxes because they need air. But you don't want them to be in sunlight either. I have found even a north-facing window or room that does not have any sun coming in, fabrics will fade. That means leather will fade. So if you have a closet with a window, it's a good idea to cover your bags with the dust bags. Same with your shoes, and even clothing will fade. My next question is from Jessie Cardona 6062. She left a very sweet comment, and then she asked, and I have a question for you. Did you work at some point in your life in the fashion industry, or do you think about having your own signature, specifically classic contemporary clothing or accessories line like handbags? The first part of the question, did I ever work in the fashion industry? I started modeling when I was about 15. My mother took me into a department store. I don't know what prompted it, but she took me to a department store. I think it was Horns in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And all I remember is what transpired after that. I started modeling for Horns and then for Kaufman's. I did fashion shows. I did television commercials. So that's when I first started getting involved in fashion and also in television. I loved it. So I did this all through the second half of high school and then in college. And then when I moved to Naples, I wanted to be a writer. And my mother had been trying to encourage me to move here from Los Angeles. And she said, there's a magazine here, you should apply. So I did. Naples in 1984 was very small. There was just one magazine here. It was called Gulfshire Life. It's still published. So I sent a letter and I was hired. I loved my boss. My editor was Molly. And she right away had me doing fashion. I was in charge of the fashion shoots, so I picked the models. I had never done anything like that, but I had been doing the modeling. So I remember having to put together a fashion show to benefit a charity and hiring, or at least choosing the local models and working with the stores to put together the outfits. And I did that for my entire magazine career, which was until about 97. I left the business and I loved it. I was very creative. Now I will say I spent so much time working, and then I full-time worked as a magazine editor. I became an editorial assistant first and then later became the editor of the magazine. And I worked full-time doing that, and then on weekends and evenings and every day off, I'd even take sick days, I would make television commercials, I would model, I hosted a couple of local TV shows, and then I was also a co-host of a shopping channel here in town for about 10 years. And that also introduced me to other stores, fashion brands locally. I modeled for them and I interviewed them about the clothing. So I was involved that way. But I will say, when it came to fashion magazines like Vogue, and I never really could relate to fashion because I liked classic, traditional, timeless, wearable clothing, and I never seemed to find that in the magazines. My favorite magazine and section to read was the Town and Country social scene, where I could see how real women dressed. And I like to see how women older than I was dressed. I would have been 15, 16, and my mother would let me see her Town and Country magazine, and I wanted to see how the 30-year-old women were dressing, because I really couldn't relate to the fashion in magazines at all. So as for handbag line or clothing line, I'll say no. I haven't, just because it would be very time consuming, and I feel like I don't have enough time as it is to do the things I want to do creatively now. In fact, I've often thought if I didn't do YouTube and my blog, or if I did it less, I would like to go back to painting. About 12 or so years ago, I took some courses on watercolor journaling and fell in love with that. Love it. Again, I had to get over my perfectionism because I'm terrible drawing, I'm terrible painter, but I just pushed through that and said, it doesn't matter, have fun. And I actually like some of my work. I thought it was pretty good for me. So, as I said, if I ever find the time, I would like to spend time painting again, and actually I'd have to reteach it to myself all over again because I haven't done it in years. All right, my next question. It is from Frank Mandy, 1981. What brings you joy? And when I thought about this last night, I thought, the things that bring me the most joy are those things for which I am the most grateful. And number one is my husband. He's my best friend, my soulmate. We met 40 years ago this November on a beach. And he asked me out a week later, and we began dating then. And I feel very lucky because he is very supportive, and he's kind and very loving. So I feel very lucky that way. Second, and it ranks up there at the same level, is health. His health and my health, because that's the one reason why we're still here together on the planet, is our health. I tell you, without your health, by our age, most of us have had health issues of some sort, and you really realize now how important it is. If you feel horrible, it's hard to have joy about anything. So any young person listening, start young. I didn't start overhauling my diet until I was 52. Thank goodness I did then, but I wish I'd known everything I know now. I wish I'd known it when I was a teenager. But the information just wasn't there then. And we've learned so many things that we didn't know back then. So health. Number three would be family, friends. Family and friends. And when I say friends, I mean, I've always been somebody who just wanted to have one or maybe two close friends. And that's what I like. And then those relationships are deeper and more meaningful. I've never been one, I'm not a extrovert. I'm very much an introvert. And that's why I like to keep my circle of friends small. and then family. And lastly, joy would be creativity, doing the things I'm doing. YouTube, styling outfits is so much fun for me. It takes me, sometimes I can, just to do one outfit, I will go through handbags and shoes and, you know, tops and before I get it just the way I want it, and then I'll see it on YouTube and I'll think, ugh. I love it though when I see it on YouTube, and I'm talking maybe a week or two or a year later. I love it when I still love what I did. There are some looks that I don't like, I wish I hadn't done. Some makeup looks I did. Even I was seeing on screen, I'm not sure this one is, I don't know. I can't tell. I like the colors. I do like the colors, but I'm worried I put too much blush on my nose. I can't tell if it's a shadow or blush, because the way I do the lights, it does create a shadow on my nose. But that's the perfectionist in me. Oh, that would be another challenge of YouTube. I didn't think about it. Is seeing myself up close get older. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, it's hard for all of us. We all know when you start seeing aging, it's not fun. But I'm lucky in that I have a husband who is very, again, supportive. He's very happy with the way I look and wouldn't want me to change anything or fix anything, and I'm so grateful for that, because I don't want to. I'm just not someone who wants to do that. I want to age naturally, and so it's hard to see myself. 10 years ago when I started YouTube, I look a lot younger, but I just remember how lucky I am to be here still. Okay, this is a series of questions from L. Macaulay 7319. Hi, L. Macaulay. I'm finally getting to your answers. What is your favorite childhood memory, or one of your favorites? What is your favorite movie or movies? And if you could go back in time and give your teenage self some advice, what would that be? And lastly, what is your favorite city you have visited? Okay. Favorite childhood memory. All right, this one I wrote down because I don't know, I didn't know if I could explain it well enough if I didn't write it down. It came instantly to me, and probably because it's been a memory I've had for decades. For some reason, it's a time in my life that was important to me, because I notice I seem to remember important moments. So this was one of them. I would have been about 2 or 3 years old. So it was in our home in The Hague, Holland in 1962 or 1963. And here's the part I wrote down. I am sitting on a gray slate foyer floor with my back to a door, eating a pear. And to my left is a doorway into a room, and on the other side of the room is another doorway into the kitchen. There, standing facing the counter or the stove, I don't know which because her back is to me, is my mother. I always see this memory as if I am standing looking down at me, the child on the floor. And I remember just how in the moment I was, how peaceful I felt, how safe, secure, loved, happy I felt to just be there, on the floor, eating a pear. And when I say happy, I mean an even keel kind of happiness, which is contentment. And I thought last night that contentment is at the heart of peacefulness. And that is what I want for my life as an adult, is to have that kind of just peace, contentment. I'm not somebody who wants the highs, because I feel like then you have lows. I love peaceful, content, and that I know is boring for some people, but that's just the way I've always felt most comfortable. So that is my happiest memory as a child, I would say. All right, the next one, she wanted to know, my favorite movie or movies. These I had to write down so I wouldn't forget to tell you. They're in no particular order, just what came to my mind first. Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca, Cary Grant and Deborah Carr in An Affair to Remember. In fact, I just bought this DVD and the Rebecca DVD. Grace Kelly and Frank Sinatra in High Society. I also just bought that DVD. Maurice Chevalier, Louis Jourdain, and Leslie Caron in Gigi. I bought that DVD. When I say bought them, this is a couple of months ago. I decided to go on Amazon to see if any of these were available. These next ones, some of these, I haven't done that, and I want to do that. The next one, Sandra Dee and James Darren in Gidget. I bought that one. I love that. What was the song? Gidget is the one for me. When she says she loves ya, that can also mean she hates ya. Something like that. What's the next one? Audrey Hepburn, William Holden, and Humphrey Bogart in Sabrina. I also love the new one they made with Greg Kinnear. I've always loved movies he's in. I wish we could see him more. I think he's a fantastic actor. And then the 3 Tammy movies. Oh my gosh, these are the ones I haven't ordered and I want to order. But I did get the Sabrina movie as well. Tammy and the Bachelor, 1957, with Debbie Reynolds. Tammy, Tell Me True, 1961. That was with Sandra Dee. And then Tammy and the Doctor, that was in 1963. That was with also Sandra Dee. I love the Tammy movies. I think it was the first one where Debbie Reynolds sings. They're just romantic, sweet, just like the Gidget movies. Men are masculine, the women are feminine. All of these movies, I mean, the men are really men and the women are really women, and they're so polite. The men are chivalrous and or they're rakes, but there's not too much. There's definitely no violence and not too much. There's very little sex. There's none. There's kissing, barely, sometimes. And that's my favorite kind of movie, which is hard to find nowadays. Okay, the next one was advice she asked for my teenage self. Okay, this one, oh boy, this one made me cry last night as I started to think about it. So I did write a letter to myself, and I think I'll do better reading it rather than trying to explain it. I wanted to take it seriously. It's what I wish I'd known so much sooner than I learned it. So this is the letter I wrote to the teenager. Dear Janis, in a few years after you graduate from college and move out on your own, you will begin to make choices and explore ideas that will not align with the hopes and dreams your mother has for you. Remember that she loves you and she is doing the best she can. Listen to her. With an open, empathetic, non-judgmental, and understanding heart, even though you will feel defensive, hurt, wrongly judged, and misunderstood. You will think you need to convince her that you are right and she is wrong, because you will want her to accept you as you are. However, doing this will not bring the results you want. Instead, allow her to have her opinion. When she criticizes you, be wise and look at the information as useful. See if there is any truth in what she says. If there is, then be grateful for the information and make the needed change. If there is not any truth, then note this also and move on. Do not hold it against her. Only by doing this will you be happy in the end. Your mother wants the best for you. Thank her and tell her you are grateful for her offering you her advice. You will also be so grateful you have done this when you are older. I really did not understand or begin to start to understand my mom until I was in my 40s. And of course, I thanked her in Mother's Day cards and that kind of thing, but even still, I did not thank her enough. I definitely didn't thank her for advice, unsolicited advice. I kept my mouth closed and listened, so I'm grateful I did that. And I finally understood that it was coming from love, and it didn't mean that I was a mistake, a mess, and nothing was right about me, because I did feel that when I was younger. My mom has passed away, so the reason I wanted to share this was for any of you who still have your mom. No matter how old you are, it's not too late. As long as she is able to hear you and she still knows who you are. I know some parents have dementia now, but if she doesn't and she's able to hear your message, something I didn't realize is my mom wanted to be needed. She wanted to help me, and that's what she wanted. She wanted what was best for me, and I wish I'd known that. So that's the letter I would write to myself. And then her last question, Elma Cauley asked, was my favorite city I have visited. And I thought, well, I'm not much of a traveler. I'm an armchair traveler. I much prefer to hear everybody else's stories of their travels and see their photos and videos. I did travel when I was younger. When I was living with my family as a child, we traveled a lot. And then in my 20s, I did travel. But I'm a homebody. I prefer home. And is it called white knuckle flyer? I don't love to fly. I do fly when I have to, but I'd rather not if I don't. So a happy memory of a place would be a time and place. And I was with my husband. We were not yet married. It was 1989, Palm Beach. I love the architecture. I love the history. And my husband and I were there, at that time he was my boyfriend. My boyfriend and I were there for a wedding of a friend. And we stayed at the, what was it called? Oh, Brazilian Court. It was beautiful. I think they have redone it since then, but we both thought it was just a gorgeous hotel. And my memory is of me and my boyfriend out by the pool, and we ordered lunch, and I felt so pampered to have the lunch brought to me poolside. I had a BLT, and I'll never forget, it was $10. And I remember thinking how outrageously expensive that was. Now a BLT at a Naples restaurant is more than $20. It's just for the BLT. So that was really, shows how long ago that was. 1989, 99, 109, 19. That was 36 years ago? Is it 36 years ago? something like that. Oh my gosh. So that's my favorite place I visited. The next question is from Carol0302. She left me a very nice comment, and then she said, I know you are very careful about your diet, but I think everyone has that one thing that we just have to have every now and again, even if we know we shouldn't. What's yours? Mine is Ritz crackers with Laughing Cow cheese and blueberry pepper jelly. My husband thinks it's perfectly disgusting, but I think I could eat a million. I thought this was a great question. Yes, I am careful about my diet, and I think I talked about in about a year ago video that I did begin to loosen up a bit because I felt like I was being too strict. I never ever allowed myself to splurge even in a tiny way. I changed my diet in June 2012, and for about 8 or 9 or 8 years, I never varied from it. But I felt like it was probably too restrictive. It wasn't, I mean, I would not go to social events in certain cases if I was afraid it would inconvenience the hostess. And so I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to be that strict. So I thought I will allow myself sometimes to have fun, but be careful about it and not go overboard. So I allow myself to occasionally have wheat, corn. I try to always do organic. Some sugar items, and I'll talk about what that is. And what else? Eggs, bacon, occasionally. Again, eggs I'm allergic to, so I can't have them too much. I have 2 guilty pleasures. One is a sweet and one is a salty. So the sweet, this one I have here, is an organic scone mix. I like these because you make them yourself, so you know exactly what's in it, and they are low in sugar. Now this says it makes 8, but I think it only makes 4. So if you make 4, each one has only 4 grams of sugar. If you want to make them sweeter, they do taste kind of like a biscuit, and I like that. But I've also added raisins, and they taste great with raisins, and that adds more sugar. They say to add 1/3 cup of raisins or blueberries. These are wonderful. I don't have them daily. I don't, maybe once or twice a week at the most. I trade off between this and a graham cracker that I like. It's an organic graham cracker. I will put it on screen. I can't remember the name of it. The one thing I don't like about it is it does have an oil, a seed oil. So I would rather have this. It says to make this with butter, but I use olive oil. So those are my guilty pleasures on the sweet side. My guilty pleasure on the salty side is potato chips, or as you say in Great Britain, crisps. So I get the kind, unfortunately they don't make these organic, but it's the only brand I've found that has olive oil potato chips or avocado oil. I buy either one. They are fried though, so it's still not good for me, but what I like to do is have potato chips and a glass of red wine. Again, organic. I have wine maybe once or twice at the most a week, and I do need to leave days in between or I will get a headache. The wines we buy are $12 or less. One is Stellar Organics, the other one is, I know they have a dragonfly as their logo. I'll link to both of those down below, but they're both inexpensive. Both are organic, low in sulfites. They have no added sulfites. And then with potato chips. I love potato chips. I also love French fries. Okay, and the last question, she had 2 questions. This is from Amy-HS1QE. My questions are, do you have children? Is this too nosy? And what are your top 5 bags that you own? No, that's not too nosy. Most people do talk about their kids, and I don't because we don't have children. As for my top 5 bags, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how hard that was going to be for me to choose. So I chose 6. I couldn't choose 5. I had to do 6. So number 6 would be my Louis Vuitton monogram Speedy 30 for sentimental reasons, for so many reasons. It was the very first luxury handbag I ever bought for myself. I was 34 years old. It was in 1994. I love the bag. I love the monogram print. It was the bag that my mother carried for years, and that's who inspired me. That's why I finally bought my own. Number 5 handbag would be my Louis Vuitton Bandolier Maletage Speedy 25 black bag. This is a lambskin bag on the outside and goat skin on the inside, and I really, as soon as I saw it online, fell in love with it. And when I picked it up in the store and realized how lightweight it was, I was sold. It's a beautiful bag because of the diamond detailing, and there's no logo at all. It has the signature Louis Vuitton lock. If you look, there's a tiny inscription on the lock, but that's it. I was wishing they would make it in another color, like ivory or off-white, but they never did. And they never brought the bag back either, so you can only buy it pre-loved. I don't know why. I can't imagine. It's a gorgeous bag. I love it because it's casual but very refined. It can be a dressy sort of casual, where I love my monogram Speedy 30 for casual. It also is refined. It has an elegance to it, but it's, because of the print, it's a more fun and a more casual bag, and also because of the size. The 30 is a really big bag. I think the 25 is a perfect size bag. What did I pick as 4? Oh, my Chanel beige medium classic flap. I bought that bag, I will put on screen, I don't remember how many years ago. I'm so glad I actually went into our local Chanel boutique at Saks wanting to get the jumbo in beige. And they didn't have one in the store, so she was calling around other stores asking. And in the meantime, she said, let me show you, we do have a beige in a medium. So she wanted me to see that while she looked around for the jumbo. Well, I fell in love with the medium. It was in light beige, so it's almost an ivory. And so I ended up buying it. And I thought, will I regret this? And I don't. I have the black jumbo classic flap. Both of these are caviar leather. That is my preference because they seem to keep their shape better. But I'm glad I got the medium. I really use the medium size more than the jumbo. The jumbo is like my Speedy 30. It's more like a tote, as is my Speedy 30. So when I want to be able to carry a lot of things, and I love black, so I'm glad I got the jumbo in black. I love black bags. My number 3 is also Chanel, and it would be my black mini Coco handle. Now when I bought it, it was called the extra mini because it was the smallest size, but I think they added other sizes, so they changed the name of the size. I think it's now called the mini. And it is also caviar leather. I love it because it is dressier. Same with the beige classic flap. It is dressy, but you can still wear it with jeans. And because it's dressy, I can wear it with silk dresses. And it's lovely. Same with the black Coco handle. Because of the small size, it works beautifully as a bag with a cocktail dress. I can easily wear that with a black cocktail dress, especially if I take off the shoulder strap and just carry it by the handle. Number 2 is also a Coco handle. It's the Chanel Coco handle in white, and I have that in the next size up, which used to be called the mini and now I think called the small. And because I live in Florida, I can use it year-round. I love a white bag, and because of the size, it can be like the black bag. It can be dressy or casual. It can be crossbody if I want it. And I knew I would need a white bag. As you can see, I'm picking neutrals because those are the ones I'm finding I use the most. And then my Louis Vuitton, that print ends up being like a neutral. It's a great casual bag. So my number one bag is for both sentimental reasons and financial, because it's the most difficult bag to find, and it is my one and only Kelly, my one and only actually Hermes bag. Now I never can remember what it's called. The color is Crevette, and it is a beautiful soft pastel peach. The leather is Clemence, and that is a heavy, textured, casual kind of leather. And the size is a 35 with palladium hardware. And I love the combination of that creamsicle color. Did you all ever have creamsicles when you were younger? I don't know, do they still make them today? Well, this bag is the color of a creamsicle. So I love the chilly, cold palladium silver with it. It just feels right. I'm a gold person normally, but I love the look of this bag with the silver. And the reason it has sentimental value is because my husband bought it for me for my 60th birthday. So I've had it for 5 years, and I love wearing that color with pastel colors, pastel blue, pastel green, aqua. I wear it with, what other colors have I worn it with? Especially blue, pastel blue and green. White, ivory, I think that's about it. Just Florida living, I can wear it or carry it year round. But you know, if I'm up north, it would be strictly a summer bag. And because it's big, it's a tote. It's a 35. And I love it. I love it. And I'm very happy. I don't need any other Hermes bags. I guess if I was offered one, I'd be thrilled, but I don't seek them out. I think I'm pretty sure I would buy it pre-loved, not at the store, because I don't want to have to buy a lot of things I probably won't use or want. Really, the only things I wanted at Hermes were the Kelly bag, a click-clack bracelet, which I have. I do like the Kelly belts, but now you can find lookalikes that are lovely, so I'm happy with those. I tried on the Oran sandals years ago when we got an Hermes store last year or the year before. They're the most uncomfortable shoes on my feet, just trying on. I can't imagine wearing them. They're all over social media. Everybody loves them. I guess I'm the only one who doesn't like the Oran sandals. They hurt my feet. Probably because I have very bony feet. At least that part where the H is, where your bone sticks in, they hurt my feet. I'm not the customer for those shoes. So is that all my questions and answers? My gosh, it is. Oh my gosh, all of you who have been so patient with me and understanding and forgave me for not doing this video. Thank you. And thank you for your support, all of you. I so appreciate it. I don't tell you enough. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's why I keep doing this. And I appreciate you so much. So thank you so much for watching my video. Oh, if you like my earrings, these are from Gingerberry, and I do have a coupon code. I will link to them down below. My coupon code is for 15% off. These are 18 karat gold and cultured freshwater pearls. I think they're so pretty. Thank you everyone for watching this video. I'm so glad I've finally done it. And I will talk to you in my next one.